Hello, hello, hello. It's Knits for Sanity, and welcome to a belated WIP Chat. WIP stands for Work in Progress, so grab whatever activity it is that you're currently working on, whether that be a craft, a hobby, a chore, going for a walk, and let me chat with you for a little while, just keep you company. It is a Friday. I have never done a WIP Chat on a Friday. Typically Fridays are unboxing days, but this week has been a rather unique week after a unique week last week. And I thought that some people would appreciate perhaps an update on things. So that's why I decided to do a WIP Chat today. You can maybe hear it a little bit in my voice. I do have a cold. It's just starting right now, which is also why I thought, no, let's just quickly do a WIP Chat today, because I'm not sure how I will be sounding further into the weekend. So I last did a WIP Chat. It was Monday morning and uploaded that Monday afternoon. Mondays are normal days. Usually I stay up Sunday night and then load on Monday afternoon for WIP Chats. Or sometimes I do end up doing them Monday mornings, which is what had happened this past week. And at that time, I was hopeful that this week would be better than last week. I honestly can't say that it has been. But let's just start, I guess, from the beginning. I kind of goofed with my plastic removal there, so I got to take care of that. But Monday, following the WIP Chat, I did get my son from school for his dance class. Mondays I have to pick him up a few minutes early from school for dance, just because, again, obviously, if you are new, you may not know this, but otherwise, if you've been following along, you do know that we kind of live in the middle of nowhere. I'm just trying to cut this plastic that I did not do a good job when I was ripping the plastic here. But, so that means almost all of our activities do take us quite a ways away from home. I'm trying to decide, I don't know. No, I think we'll leave that. I'll just fill those in with the next square. So his dance class starts only 35 minutes after school releases for him. And with how far we have to travel, there's no way that I could possibly get him to dance class in time. So on Mondays, I pick him up about 15-20 minutes early from school every week and bring him to dance class. And he's first grade. It's the last 15-20 minutes of the day. He's not missing that much. So, and I do very much consider dance class as part of his education as well. So I do have that arrangement with the school. So I did that Monday like normal. And I remembered to bring along his costume because it's Halloween week at dance. So he could wear his Halloween costume for dance class, as long as it's something that you're able to dance in, move around appropriately. They encourage that to the kids. And of course, if you don't celebrate Halloween, there's no expectation that you have to be in a Halloween costume, but it is something that they like to try and do just to keep it a little bit more fun and lighthearted, especially for the younger dancers. And Havelock looks forward to this. Last year and this year, I mentioned Monday, he had actually put his costume ready to go on my bed by like Tuesday of last week. He had it all folded up in his way that he folds. He had it all folded up, ready to go. Put this in your purse. So he was very excited, and he had a good class. He had a fun time. If I remember, which we'll see. If I remember, I'll try and put up a picture, just a silly picture of him looking through the glass for his class, because I think that picture doesn't show any other children in it at all. So I'll try and put that in here. And then after dance, we headed home. And I feel like I should take a little pause here and talk about something that happened almost 7.5 years ago when I was 23, 24 weeks pregnant with Havelock, with my son. I was coming home, driving on the interstate north, and a deer suddenly decided that he was ready to commit suicide and jumped out right in front of me. And if you have been in deer collisions, especially these high speed ones where you're traveling down the interstate where our speed limit is 75. When you get into the more rural areas, the speed limit is 75 around here. And a deer comes jumping out at you. I mean, there's nothing you can do. And this deer actually rolled up onto the hood of my car, almost went through the windshield, and it was really scary. My car broke down immediately, so I was off the side of the interstate. There was an angel in a pickup truck who saw it happen and stopped immediately by me. EMTs did come out. Originally, I was like, no, I don't think I need any EMTs to come out here. But the guy who had stopped, he's like, you're bleeding all over. I think maybe they should come out. And I was obviously pregnant too. So the EMTs did come out. They ended up just helping to clean me off. And then they did not take me into the hospital, which had my OB absolutely livid the next morning when I called just to say, hey, just so you know, I was in a car accident. I'm pretty sure everything is just fine with the baby. I'm quite certain I felt him move and everything. She's like, the EMTs didn't take you to the hospital? They didn't check you and the baby out? What? I mean, she was livid. So she made me come down the next morning right away and do a non-stress test, and just to make sure baby was okay. And baby was fine. But it ended up totaling that vehicle. And our insurance agent at the time had said that he had never seen so much damage done by a deer collision, and the occupants inside the vehicle were not seriously injured. And I wasn't. I mean, I was picking glass out of my skin for like the next 2 weeks, and I was sore and stuff the next day, but I was fine. No permanent damage other than I have a few glass scars left, or scars left from glass shards in my skin. And my son was perfectly fine. I mean, he was, in many ways, he was in the safest position possible, being inside of my uterus. But, I mean, we were fine. And the insurance agent was really, truly astounded. He's like, I mean, that was extensive damage. So anyway, that was about 7.5 years ago. And Monday, I've decided that I don't think the deer are trying to commit suicide. I think maybe that there's a hit out on me and my son. Like, I don't think I've ever done anything to any deer. I, sometimes take their picture when they come right up by our windows and stuff outside, or, I've taken pictures of their babies sometimes when I find them on our property. And actually, that has led to a female, a doe, becoming somewhat friendly with us. Not like, not like pet friendly, but she doesn't feel threatened when she sees me outside anymore. She doesn't approach me, she doesn't come close, but she also doesn't go bounding off either anymore. And I'm quite certain it was her baby last year, that she must have been watching me and she saw me find her baby. And I just took a couple of pictures and then left her fawn alone. And I think she now feels like, oh, this woman's not any kind of a threat. So she doesn't go bounding off when she sees me outside. But when I had my second deer in almost the exact same location on the interstate, once again, go launching in front of our car, I'm starting to think that maybe the deer population has a hit out on me and my son. I mean, I don't know if they're into organized crime, but I'm starting to think that perhaps they are. In this instance, though, I do feel very lucky, very blessed. This time the deer did not like flop up on top of our hood and then through my windshield. This time he went actually underneath the vehicle. So we actually ended up like driving over his body, which was nice because now my son is 7 years old and very aware, and glass shards would have been very damaging to him, and it would have made for a far more traumatic experience for him. But with it just going under our car, you know, my son had no clue what was going on. It was just a, hey, Mom, what was that? Like, he was concerned. And I said, well, here I feel like I did a good job, guys. Please tell me I did a good job. I said, well, that was a deer. We hit a deer. And, you know, and I'm sitting there and I'm kind of a little bit panicked, you know, and trying to evaluate what is the car doing and everything, you know, and I realized, you know, I am still moving. The vehicle is still technically drivable at the moment. I think I can make it to the next exit and actually pull into the carpool lot there, or the park and ride, depending on where you live. And so I just said to my son, you know, we're going to have to pull off and we're going to have to check out the car. And he's like, oh, well, okay, how long is that going to take? And I didn't have the heart to tell him at that point that odds are that once we pull off and I stop the car and get out to look it over, that it would not be starting again. So I just said, oh, I don't know. But I was able to get it off from the interstate. I was able to pull it into the Michigan Department of Transportation and MDOT carpool lot. And when I got out of the car, by the time I had parked it, I could smell stuff, radiator fluid, as well as cooking deer and blood, which, if you're not familiar, blood has a very distinct smell to it. And when I went to go check it out, it was pretty clear. I mean, the radiator was shot, the whole front part of my car destroyed. Very obvious that this was not a drivable vehicle anymore. And so then, you know, I called my husband, and then I called insurance. And when I was on the phone with insurance, and my poor son starts putting together that this was a real accident and a serious one, and that now Daddy needs to come and pick us up, and the car is broken. Then he did start crying a little bit when I was on the phone with the insurance company. So after I got off the phone, I quickly gave him tasks to do, something to keep him busy and really hoping to make him feel like he was doing something important. So he collected trash from our vehicle and he put it all in his little lunchbox to throw away later, and making sure that all of our belongings were together. So I kept him busy. And by the time I took that picture and posted that on the community feed for the channel, he was doing pretty well. You know, at that point, he was just really getting eager for Dad to come because he was very hungry and tired, and he just really wanted to get home. But he was feeling pretty good. So, like I said, please tell me I did a good job as a parent in that situation. Then I spent so much time on the phone Monday night, just trying to arrange the towing service. The first insurance gal that I spoke with, she seemed really nice. She seemed helpful. She seemed knowledgeable and like she knew what she was doing. But shortly after my husband picked me up, I got a text message saying that this towing service was coming. They'd be there in probably about an hour and a half. And I left a note with the insurance company to pass on to the towing service that I was just leaving my keys in the car, driver's visor. My husband was getting us, just my son. I had to get my son home. And we live far enough away. There was no way I was going to sit and wait until the tow truck showed up and then have my husband come back down and get me. That just was not even feasible. And we just really had to get my son home. But the text message I got from the towing company, the text message from the insurance company letting me know that the towing company was on their way showed a towing company that was, the city listed was nowhere near where we live. Like located way up by the Mackinac Bridge. And we're a good 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours from the bridge. It depends how fast you're going. So 2.5 if you're kind of speeding, 3 hours if you're putzing. And I know because I've made the drive. So we're not by the Mackinac Bridge. And shortly after I got the text message and I'm puzzling over this a little bit, then I get a phone call. And it was this guy from the towing company. And he's like, where are you located? Because right now I'm showing that you are, this far away from me. And is that correct? And I said to him, yeah, this is where I'm located. He's like, yeah, I'm way up by the bridge. I am not coming down there. God bless you. I am so sorry for you, but I am not coming to get your vehicle. And I said, no, that's fine. I would not expect you to. So then I had to call the insurance company back. And first insurance gal, she seemed so helpful. And she knew what she was doing. And I gotta tell you too, I was so proud of myself for being able to get my car into an MDOT carpool lot, because that is an easy, I am off from this exit and this exit's carpool lot. It is an MDOT, Michigan Department of Transportation, actual place, so there will be an address attached to this. I don't know what that address is, but it should be very easy to locate and find. It's not like the last time when I was just off the side of the interstate and didn't even see a mile marker. So I was so proud of myself. I thought this is great. I should be really easy to find. But when I called back, this gal had put me about 50 miles north of the Indiana border, which is totally inaccurate. Which also then really is why would you call a towing company that's located way up by the Mackinac Bridge, which if you don't understand any of this geography, you need to look at a map. But I'll quickly do the hand thing because this is a Michigan thing. All right, so I was located about here, okay? Right about here in Michigan. The bridge is about here, okay? It's actually pretty much due north of us in many ways. So right about here. She had me located down here. So why you would then have a company from way up here think that they have to come all the way down? I mean, it was just crazy. And then she also had me having my vehicle towed to a completely different spot. And I mean, none of these cities or villages or towns that he's listing sound anything like what I had said on the phone. Because I told her even, I'm between this city and this city, from this interstate, at this exit, and in the carpool lot with that. So I have no idea what happened. I don't know what she was doing. But then guy number 2, in order to have him find me, I actually told him, because he wasn't getting it either. And I'm like, I don't know what else to say or do to make my location any more clear. So I finally said to him, all right, you need to Google this city, which, major city in Michigan. He's like, okay, I can do that. So he's on Google Maps. And I have to talk him through Google Maps and tell him, all right, locate this interstate, runs right through the city. All right, now go north and keep going north. Nope, a little bit further north. You're almost there. And then, wait. Okay, it's that exit. I'm in the carpool lot for that exit. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, this is great. There's going to be an address for that and everything. Like, yeah, I know. So at that point, I thought, good, we're good. He now has an actual address. The towing company's going to get there. They're going to move my car. Except 20 minutes later, the towing company calls me. The new towing company calls me and says, yeah, where are you? Where is your car? Because I just see the name of the road. I thought, you've got to be kidding me. He just was talking about how, yeah, there's an actual address with this. Fortunately, now I'm dealing with somebody local. And so when I said it's this carpool lot, she's like, oh, great, perfect. Thank you. Your car's right in the lot. I said, yes, it's sitting right there. You won't miss it. Awesome. Perfect. Cool beans. Right? Wrong. The next morning, my car's missing. Because in all of this communication, and what gets me is I had asked the second insurance guy the night before and said, I'd also like to verify that the towing company is bringing my vehicle to the right location. And he said, no, it'll be fine. Don't worry about that. If it's a local place, they will know to bring it there. If it's somewhere further away, then we'll get a phone call. So essentially he was like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. We're done. Well, they didn't receive notice about where they were supposed to bring my car at all. And they didn't call me back to ask me about it. And they may have tried calling the insurance company. This is what happens when you do everything, like through third party and stuff. So turns out the next morning when the collision place is called and they walk the entire lot and they're like, no, we don't have this vehicle. Now begins the hunt down about where did you put this woman's vehicle? Well, the towing company brought it to a storage unit. So my car had essentially like a one-night vacation in we're going to say luxury storage unit. We're going to call it that because it's insanely expensive to store a vehicle. So my car was found. It was finally brought to the collision place. It's just crazy. Anyway, Tuesday, I was sore and I did have a mild headache from the accident, but that really was it. And, because I've done this before, I'm fully aware that, it's because I had tensed up so much when the accident happened, and that does a number to your muscles. And so I knew exactly what was going on. I took some ibuprofen. I was pretty emotionally in a wreck too, just a culmination of so many things that are going on right now between extreme money stress and some very serious health concerns that are happening at present. And just so many things happening. But otherwise, I was fine. My son was just fine. I did mention to my husband that the next morning, if he wakes up and he seems really off, if he's really weepy or something, let's just keep him home for the day. But I feel like I must have done a pretty good job trying to stay pretty cool during the situation, because he woke up ready to go to school and has really been fine ever since. I emailed his teacher too to let her know what had happened, just in case it came up at school at all. But really, he told some of his friends about it, and that was it. Otherwise, he was able to move on, and he seems fine. So I'm thrilled. We still don't have any kind of an official verdict on my car at present. Wednesday? I don't even know. My understanding of time right now is so off, to the point that a couple of days ago, I don't know, maybe yesterday, a couple days ago, I don't know anymore. My husband was in talking with me, and we were chatting, and I said, well, are you going to make that coffee? I said, well, yes, when I get done in here, I'll go start the coffee. And I said, no, I mean, you came in earlier and said that you were going to make coffee. And he's like, no, that was this visit. Like, talking just now, I said I was going to make coffee. I haven't left yet. And I was just mind blown, because I could have sworn that he had actually left and come back to talk. I mean, and that's how I've been all week, is just my understanding of time is shot. It's extreme stress. You know, this is what happens when you're under extreme stress, is your understanding of time is often impacted. And my husband's experiencing a lot of this too right now. So anyway, a couple days ago or something, the collision place did call and excuse me, gave a very initial estimate just from looking at the vehicle, what they could see needed to be repaired just by looking at it. And then we had to sign off to give permission for them to actually start fixing or breaking into the vehicle, if you will, taking it apart to see what else is potentially wrong. My gut's saying they're going to be able to fix it, which is good, because of course we're at like the worst spot possible in our car loan. We've been paying for 2.5 years, which means we've been paying pretty much exclusively interest for 2.5 years. But at the same time, of course, having a repaired car means that now our car has no value. So when we do need a new car, being able to sell the one we have will be difficult. I mean, there's no win here, guys. And it's just another frustration. And this car already had repairs that needed to be done to it. So that's going to have to be done still after they do the repairs from the deer. But we have our deductible with the insurance company. So I don't know. I feel like hopefully, yes, they can fix it, because I think that is the better option. But at the same time, fixing it is still going to cost us several $100s. And then we're going to get it back, and we're still going to have to spend several $100s for other repairs. And of course, we don't have any of this money. It's just so stressful. And then just other odd things this week. Like, I got a phone call from the school the other day, and my son was hit in the mouth by another child. They aren't sure what happened. And I'm talking to my son, and he's like, I don't know what happened. I was just standing there watching these boys fight. Which, here's the thing about that. First, you and I both know that you don't just get hit. You know, usually there's something that provoked this situation, right? But at the same time, I will say my son is not, and the school seems to think too, that my son in no way actually provoked this. He was really just like an innocent bystander. And that does fit with my son's character, but I'm still thinking, what did he say though? Because that I could see him saying something, even possibly well-intentioned, saying something like, hey guys, you got to stop it. I don't know. But so he came home with a fat lip and had been bleeding. Then yesterday, the two of us had to get back into a vehicle and drive down to the pediatrician, which I talked about Monday too. He has a lot of warts on his hands, and the first time freezing really didn't do any good. And so we had to do that and then flu shot. And she was looking at him and stuff, and she's like, we'll freeze again today, but we need to do a referral to the dermatologist. I'm like, oh, okay. So she freezes, and he ends up getting these massive hives everywhere she froze. Because he has, I don't remember what it's called. My husband knows because my husband has had the same issue on and off in life. So clearly it is a genetic thing. It's hereditary. So then they have to give my son an allergy medication right there in the office after he does this. And they want him to continue finishing off this little sample, which is, I don't even think it's a week's worth of stuff, but it's like, so great. Now my son has a problem with temperature changes. Just weird little things like that. It's just crazy. Some sort of good news. We do get to have a rental vehicle this time because our insurance is covering the cost of a small sedan, which, when they say small sedan, they mean small. Do any of you out there know what a Kia Soul is? Well, that's what we're driving. If you can't just picture this vehicle off the top of your head, Google it. And actually, it would be even better if you could find an image of it sitting next to like a normal size car. My son calls it the Shoebox. So I am driving at least for a couple more days, and then we have to figure out what we're doing. But for at least a couple of days, I'm driving a bright red Shoebox. In many ways, I don't mind it. I mean, I love the gas mileage. Absolutely love the gas mileage. But totally an impractical car for our family. Even if it were just like Dave and me, or even if we did only have like 2 kids, it's just not a practical car for where we live. We need at least one vehicle with all-wheel drive because of where we live. There have been times when we've not had an all-wheel vehicle available to us, and then we will quite literally and truly, we will be snowed in during the winter for a few days, and that's just not safe. Makes me very uneasy, very uncomfortable. If there is an emergency that happens, I need to know that we are able to leave, or I need to know that, if we need to call an ambulance and they can't get down our driveway, I'm able to transport people to the end of our driveway. Our streets are often not plowed right away. There have been mornings where I do need to head out earlier, particularly like Sunday morning wrestling tournaments. And the only way that we've made it is because I have the all-wheel drive vehicle going through unplowed streets. So that is one big factor with why, even if we had a much smaller family, the Kia Soul is just not an option for us. If we were city people, I'd say go for it. It seems to be a great little car. I do kind of feel like I'm driving a shoebox. It feels very boxy. It feels very small. It feels very thin, like not really substantial, but you know, it's fun to drive. Like I said, the gas mileage is awesome. It is a new vehicle, so the extras are really nice. Like, it's nice having my phone be able to hook up with the car, which it used to be able to do in the car that I have. But then when I had to buy a new phone last year. So when I got my new iPhone, suddenly I can't connect it with my car anymore. I don't know why. I don't know what the problem is, but I can't do it anymore. And that's kind of a pain in the butt, because for the year or so that I was able to connect it, it was really, really nice, because I could then like speak and send off a quick text message if I thought of something while driving, or be able to speak and have the music that the kids wanted to listen to play. And I can't do any of that anymore. So it's nice suddenly having that feature back, kind of. So I mean, it's not a bad car. My son thinks it's kind of cool. You know, he was really excited that he got to ride in it, and he hops in there yesterday at school, and he's counting all the windows, and so my son thought it was pretty neat. So that's what I'm driving at present. The other kind of big thing going on this week, you know, I'm not ready to talk about it. Sorry, guys. It's just a teaser. I'm going to wait till we have lab results and we know a little bit more. So I'm not going there right now. I'm sorry. That was very rude of me to bring it up and then be like, oh, never mind. Tonight, middle daughter, child number 2, and I are supposed to be going to the first district game for football. I'm just gonna take drugs and take her, because she will be crushed if we can't go. The tickets are already purchased, because that's how it works with playoff games, is you have to buy your tickets ahead of time. So we will be going to that. And she's really excited to ride in the red shoebox too. Which, the poor dog. So we picked up the red shoebox Wednesday after my husband got done with work. We went down and we picked up the red shoebox. And of course, that's a little bit of a drive away too, of course. But then yesterday, when I went out to make sure the car was ready, had my son's booster seat in it and everything, which my husband had put in there. The dog was out there, and he was so bothered by having a different car in our driveway. He's been really stressed out this week too, because Mom and Dad have been stressed out this week. But then when he saw a different car in the driveway, that was the tip of the iceberg for him, of just this whole range of anxiety underneath. And finally we could see it. You know, he was really bothered by the new vehicle. And then Mom gets into this new vehicle. Anyway, that poor dog. So tonight we'll go to the football game. Let's see. What else? Otherwise, this weekend, probably fold more laundry. As you can see, too, if you were here for my last WIP Chat, I have done nothing else on this painting this week, which just breaks my heart. But I just haven't been able to, between being so busy, or like Wednesday night, I had really intended to do a WIP Chat, but I just, I didn't feel right. Like, I just didn't feel good, and I knew I really needed sleep. So at 9:30, I took a sleeping pill, and I slept. Last night, I thought, oh, maybe I'll do a WIP Chat tonight. But I was so tired and coming down with this cold that about 9:30 I was in bed again, which is highly unusual for me. I am a total night owl. So it's just been a week. It's just been a week. And yeah, so this is all the further that I am. Halloween plans, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. I think my middle two might have plans with friends. Don't know about my oldest. My youngest, I just got an invitation for husband, my son, and me to go with a couple other families trick-or-treating in a city a little bit south of here. They're renting like a bus or something. I don't really understand it. So maybe we'll do that. I want to find out what my oldest is doing first. She's home from school today because she has a very bad cold right now, which is who I got it from. She wasn't feeling well yesterday, and I got several emails from her during the day, like, Mom, I am not feeling good. And she really didn't want to miss school today because she had a quiz in social studies, but she's not doing well. The kid, she's a wreck. Like, one of those where really better to stay home. You're a germ mess. She can't focus. She can't concentrate. So she's home today, trying to recuperate in her bedroom. I do have some unboxings that I really want to do because they are holiday related. So I really want to try and introduce those to you at some point this weekend, but we'll see. It just depends on how I'm feeling. If you're still at this point in the video, please be sure to like this WIP Chat. So like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. Please share my channel with anyone that you think may find it of interest. Just read through my notes for ways in which you can help support my channel. I would really appreciate it. I do put in a lot of work for what I am doing here, and I love doing it, and it has been very good for my mental health to be able to talk things through like this, but it is a lot of work, guys. So any way that you can help support my channel is greatly appreciated. And there have been some questions about how do I view the notes, and it is a little bit confusing, particularly if you're looking on like your phone, to figure out how to see those notes. So I'm going to try and explain it to you, but there's like a little, I mean, it might depend on the app, if it's like an Android or Apple, but there's like a white line right underneath the video screen. So video screen, and then like a white line down here. And usually that will have like the title of the video, and off to the right, there will be like a little V shape with a little down arrow, but it looks like a little fat V shape. And then if you push that, then the screen should pop up with my notes. And that's where you're going to find things like links to my current projects, links to the items that I'm using. And again, I'm not an affiliate, so these are strictly just, this is what I'm using. If you want the same for yourself, this is where you can get it, but I don't receive any kind of compensation for that. It's just giving you the information. And then as well as ways that you can support my channel. So that is where you can find that, because it can be a little bit difficult to find, and I know that. Excuse me again. 9:39. Let's see. Let's try and focus on maybe some good things this week. good things this week? Well, like I said, we were able to get a rental car, so that's a good thing, right? Another absolutely wonderful thing is my son and I are fine. Oh, daughter number 2 got 100% on her most recent math test. Her teacher was so pleased, she actually sent me a message, a private message, letting me know, hey, Veda got 100% on her math test. And I said, thank you. And then I said, I'm not going to tell her. I'm going to wait till she goes to class Wednesday to see that for herself. So that will be a super cool surprise for her. And she was so proud of herself. So that's really good news. We've had some actually quite lovely days. The weather has cooled down again. It's not as warm as what it was like over the weekend when really it was too warm. And it stayed like that through Monday. And then the deer tried to take us out. And then that's when the weather changed. Then it got a lot colder. So I'm trying to think of some good stuff that's been going on. We did hit a payday, so I was able to order a couple of t-shirts. As you know, my daughter will be going to a University of Michigan wrestling tournament, and I wanted to make it really special for her because this is something we were supposed to do last year and it didn't happen. So the Michigan Den has some wrestling t-shirts available, and I knew that when we hit a payday, I was going to get her a t-shirt. And then I thought about getting a t-shirt for myself, but I don't really need a U of M wrestling t-shirt. I would rather get one for her favorite athlete who's coming with us. A kid that I don't know, I call him like my half kid, I guess, just because I've seen him grow up for so long, and I'm pretty close to him and everything. So I bought both of them the t-shirt of their choosing. And so that's just fun news. That's not that like purchasing the t-shirts is like good news, but it's the promise of things to come that hopefully will be very fun activities to do. And hopefully that will all work out. Because now there's these other factors. Oh, yay. Let me tell you, people, life is hard. Yeah, I guess I feel like maybe that's really about it. I hate to keep rambling. And so I think that is where I will probably close this off. Thank you so much for joining me today. My throat is also starting to give out. My voice is starting to leave me. So it's definitely time to be done. Thank you for your patience this week. I was not able to do my unboxings. I was not able to do the last in my mitered square knitting tutorial. Hopefully next week will be better. I mean, I said that last week, but hopefully next week really will be better. And I can get to doing those things for you guys. But just thank you. I really appreciate the support that I do have from all of you. It is really nice knowing that there are a couple people out there who sometimes listen to what I have to share. It kind of makes me feel better because it makes me feel like I'm not alone. There are other people who are listening. There are people that I know that can relate. So I just really appreciate that. And that's part of why I started the WIP Chats. I did forget a community question again today. If you make it to this point in the video, which probably nobody will, but if you happen to hear this, let's do a community question now. And I just want to know, have you ever been in a serious car accident? And you don't need to give any elaborate details with that. Just a yes or no is fine. I have been in a few serious car accidents, unfortunately. None of them my fault as a driver. One minor accident where I was at fault as the driver, kind of. But that's another story. It's actually kind of amusing. I was also pregnant then, too. Anyway, so if you get to this point, community question is just, have you ever been in a major car accident? And if that is something that's really painful for you, you know, I have had close relatives pass away in major car accidents. You don't need to share anything at all. I'm kind of curious how many listeners have been through an experience similar to what I have been through now a few times, and have been insanely blessed every time that my health has stayed good through that accident. Because that is definitely not always the case. That's another pretty interesting story, actually, too. Anyway, I just keep rambling. Bottom line is, thank you so much for being here. And as I always say, please practice kindness. Just be kind. You don't know what people are going through. You don't know their backstories. You don't know their histories. You don't know what's happened to them that day or that week or that month or that year. Just be kind. It is so much better and easier to be kind in the long run. It truly is. And in return, I hope that you have a wonderful day. I hope you have a blessed weekend. And I will see you again real soon.